All right, y'all. Let's continue on where we left off. Quint and Jack were falling into a big hole, and after Jack saved them from the zombies. So let's continue. Dirk and I tumble through a cracked concrete and dirt down into darkness, and then whomp, hard ground. There's a heavy wet smell in the air, like soil. I rise to take a step and pitch forward into something alive. My mouth is open, ready to shriek, but it's Dirk. He throws a big dirty palm over my face. Shh, he says, lifting a finger to his mouth. The walls have ears. What? Ears? I scream and I spin. Ears, eyes darting, imagining the horrific thing my mind conjured. A fable long lost, wall of ears. No, dingus, not real ears. Dirk nodding ahead. Those. I see vine thingies swaying, bobbing, moving curiously. One snakes towards us, like it's curious. I think they're listening to us, Dirk whispers. They must know how our cool conversations are. Dirk jabs me with a quick elbow and nods ahead. Beyond the next cluster of vines, I see endless tunnels. The only reason we can see all this is because the vine thingies glow. They crawl along the tunnel walls, and their flowers hum the purple and green. All this neon reminds me of a laser tag joint. I said, hey, idea. After we get out of here, we should... Not now, Dirk growls as he steps forward, brushing through the large, pulsating leaf. I follow behind closely. We turn the corner, and it's like someone cranked up the lights in Space Mountain. This isn't just one tunnel, it's many tunnels that split off and shoot into forks and branches. Whatever carved these tunnels must have been real big, Dirk says, and we continue our trek. Cool air brushes through the tunnel. I pull my hoodie tight. We must have done it recently, too. Point at the wall. The soil's wet. Every step on soft earth squishes beneath our feet. It's quiet, eerily quiet, until a spine-chilling scream erupts. I draw the slicer. Dirk readies his fist. We burst into the next corner, ready for anything. I'm taking you to Jacktown. June, fist right in your nose. Stop, Quint says. June holds up an armored hand. Whoa, 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 it's us, your friends. Fists and slicer are lowered. That could have been messy, June says. I almost blasted you. I'm just happy you're enjoying your gift, I say with a grin. Quint points at my arm. Jack, he says, you're bleeding. He's right, a small cut on my arm. Something scraped me as we came around the corner. My eye catches a spike jutting from the wall. Dirk says as he plucks it out like a giant splinter. Quint eyes it. It's a quill from the hairy eyeball monster. He gives the tunnel a once-over and adds, and there's a lot of them. The spiky quills fill the section of the tunnel. Some are broken, some of there is bits of monster flesh on the end, like they've been ripped from the creature's body. And it's like the vine thingies captured it. I don't think they just beat it up or eat it up, June says. Quint nods. They dragged it through here. But dragged it to where? Dirk extends his arms, drops a quill, and hits the dirt floor with a muffled thud. And then he rolls down the path like a runaway pencil. We've been going down this whole time, Quint says. June nods ahead. We keep going down. The more we walk down, the more the tunnel twists and turns. We're on this winding, spiraling path down to the earth deep beneath Wakefield. My ears are popped. I say, anyone got any bubblicious? Shh, Dirk says, movement up ahead. We all stop and listen. At first it sounds like a slithering, and then crickling, and then clacking. Maybe it's just a cockroach. That's got to be some cockroach. Bite your head off, June. I know the reference, Ghostbusters. I poke Dirk. See, buddy, you remember Ghostbusters. Your brain can't be broken if you're quoting Ghostbusters. In fact, this probably means that you're firing on all cylinders. Nah, Dirk grunts. If I'm quoting movies like you dorks, my brain might be shattered. The clicking and clackling, slithering grows louder and louder, and then something else. Moaning, June says. Quint shakes his head. No wailing. The tunnel flattens, and I see light around the next curve. We've come to the end. The curtain of dangled vines hangs over a gaping mouth of the passageway. Neon spectral light glows beyond it. Okay, I say, looking at my buds. Just gotta throw this out there. We should turn around and just forget that we ever came down here. And go back to the treehouse, get some peanut butter sandwiches going, maybe a little cartoon marathon? We could, but that's not really our style. I thought you'd say that. I was kind of even hoping you'd say that, Jack says. Dirk bravely brushes aside the draping vines. We step through the curtain. Part of me wishes that we had gone back. And not just because I love a good peanut butter sandwich cartoon marathon, but because what we see before us, it's a graveyard. No one speaks for a long moment. I can almost feel the terror as fear comes over my friends. We are a stunningly huge cavern, and what's inside is ghastly, grisly. There's a quick jerking in my chest, a quick skipping wildly. There are monsters everywhere. They're scattered across the cavern floor like peanut butter shells at a baseball game, like scraps of garbage, like leftovers, like Starburst wrappers. The ground is covered with barely breathing beasts. I think some are dying, June whispers, and some are already dead, Dirk says softly. As my eyes adjust to the dim, strange light, it only gets worse and worse. We slip down to the cavern floor, and not quite believing what we see as we take in the spectacle. All these creatures are shriveled and shrunken. You ever suck down a Capri Sun, squash it in your hands, and then toss it? That's what it's like, except these aren't just juice boxes. They're living creatures. Monsters, yes, but not evil monsters. No dozers or winged wretches. So many creatures, I say softly. I see ones that we haven't even seen since we were tracking down monsters for the bestiary. Quint smiles wistfully. Ah, the bestiary. Some of our finest work. Quint and June kneel down to examine one of the moaning creatures while Dirk inspects the vine thingies. I step toward a monster and I recognize the hairy eyeball monster. Hey, buddy, I say. Long time no see. I realize its body is glazed over and I add, sorry, I didn't mean it like that. No, see, like an eyeball joke. My bad. It's in bad shape, Dirk says, coming up behind me. It's like been used and disposed of. Says the eyeball monster. The eyeball monster splitting, sucking, and closing reminds me of a goldfish yanked from its tank, gasping for water. Dirk says the vine thingies are plucked into its body, like baby cows sucking at the mama. Looking around, I see the same thing for every single monster in this place. My eyes follow this thick tube viney things. They lead the way from our creatures across the cavern floor, like a crisscrossing electrical wires. The snarled messes of vines meet far side of the cavern. There's a huge slopping wall, and the vine thing grows up it, and thickened by the ceiling, turning nearly black. There's a smell in the air, a chemical smell, weed killer, the same stuff that we used to blow up Thrall, the tree beast, and that's when it hits me. Guys, I get it, I suddenly say, and I know exactly, I get it, makes me want to hurl. I know exactly where we are. Jack, Quint sighs, you definitely do not know exactly where we are. We've walked exactly a mile underground, and now you have a terrible sense of direction. Do not, as they say. I have a great sense of direction, Quint. Over here, bud. I spin around the other way. Whoops, okay, fine. My sense of direction is crummy, but I'm not wrong. We're beneath the tree of entry. That's why these vine thingies are extra super thick. They're not just vines, they're roots. We look around, and our eyes chasing the vine thingies to the roof of the cavern. The roots of the tree of entry come into one massive knot, like a big overhead light. I'm suddenly overwhelmed by the awful feeling that we're trespassing, and then we're inside some foul thing's lair. But who or what? I look away from the knotted root and the tree ceiling, following the thickness of vines down along the wall. I notice that they twitch and jump, their coils tightening around the helpless monsters in the graveyard. They're connected to something that is up there on the wall. So you guys remember Tree of Entry from the zombie parade that Thrall was in, trying to bring Razok in? That's what they're talking about. Something that is like a cocoon. Squinting, I step forward and I see him, a face that I hope to never see again. Thrall. His face is scary and his arms complete. The arm thingy is still regenerating. His name beats in my head like a drum. Thrall, Thrall, Thrall. I thought we defeated him. He was gone. June whispers, it's like he's trapped there. Quint nods. An insect in a spiderweb. Thrall's body glows the same neon as the vine thingies, and every time the vines snap and jump, Thrall's body trembles. I shake my head. I don't think he's trapped. I think he's in control. There's a moment where the fear breaks and that we used to take over. We duck inside of a large monster that reminds me of Beetle. On its back, long thin legs stick out. Black paste drips from its wide round mouth. June hums. The Tree of Entry fed on zombies. That's how it grew and became the door for Razok. Look around, Dirk says. All these monsters, you think maybe Thrall's been feeding on them? I peek around the corner. The vines vibrate and shiver with Thrall's every breath. I can barely tell where the vines stop and his humanoid monster figure begins. I whisper, it's almost like the vines are carrying life into his body, to revive him, to reanimate him. When Thrall became Thrall, the tree beast, Quint says, he must have become linked to these plants. We destroyed the tree, but not the roots. I gulp, and that makes sense in a strange way. Thrall wasn't gone. He just didn't fade away. He was pulled into the ground, and he's been here ever since. And at that moment, I have a horrible realization that Thrall's eyes flash open. I almost hear the sound of a scary movie boom as he comes to life. It's like he's emerging from hibernation. Vines snap, bark breaks, and Thrall begins to move. Like a tree were to stretch his arm and his limbs, then I hear something totally entirely different and totally entirely unexpected. The old Spider-Man theme. Does anyone else hear whistling? June asks. Who could whistle that awful place like this? Quinn exclaimed. I know exactly what sort of crazy pants could whistle in a creepy terror cavern. Coming through another vine-cut tunnel is Evie Snark. We crouch behind the heaving monster body. What's she doing here? June hisses. Dirk whispers, I guess she made it out of the sewer. Evie and Thrall must be in cahoots, I say. Big time cahoots. Major league cahoots. I bet they got their own mission operation thing going on. Mission operation cahoots. June flicks my wrist. Stop saying all these things. Look, Quentin says. Thrall's moving. Who are you? Evie Snark, I have come many times over the past weeks, but only now, finally, you've awoken, you big snoozehead. Thrall's voice is wet and phlegmy. The vines and tentacles tremble with each word. I will speak no human. I will. Gats, Evie interrupts. Gats the general sent me. Gats, he is here in this dimension? Thrall croaks. How? I summoned him. Remarkable. Gats is a great servant. So the tower is well underway, I assume. Evie pauses, coughs in her hand. Tower? No. Actually, Gat's real focus right now is, nachos. Thrall shifts. What are these nachos that you speak of? Chips and cheese, sometimes like in different meats, and actually, it's not super important right now. See, Gats came into this dimension. There were issues. He didn't enter a human vessel. He entered a rodent. And now his tail and organ and controls, now his tail is the organ that controls the undead, or it did. Some kids and their monster friends, they stole his tail. Thrall growls. Kids? Small humans. Thrall's face contorts. Were there four? Evie nods. They're talking about us. Kind of scary, but I also love it. It's like recently defeated bad dudes know us because we spend crazy amounts of time defeating bad dudes. If you live near Wakefield, you're a bad dude who's recently defeated. Pretty good bet that we had something to do with it. Guys, that's not a good thing right now. Head in the game, June says. They're saying important stuff, but Gats has made no mention of the tower, Thrall says, and he sounds confused. I look at my friends. We are all mouth the word tower. Probably bad, right? I say. Not a good tower, June says. It's for sure not an inflatable bouncy birthday party tower. Pay attention and maybe we'll find out, Dirk mutters. No, Evie says softly. No mention of the tower. Thrall smiles. Then Gats has told you nothing of consequence. Those words and Evie's frustration at them hang heavy in the cavern. Thrall explains, as you surely know, Gats is the general, and the tower is his greatest weapon. It is a beacon. It beckons the general's soldiers, the undead, drawing them from across the lands to aid in its construction. Evie goes still. When fully complete, the tower will carry Razok here. The tower is an indomitable, unstoppable transportation to any dimension. A dark, cruel grin grows on Thrall's face. If the tail is the key to Gats building the army and constructing the tower, I will help you retrieve it. For Gats, for Razok. I whirl to look at my friends. Our eyes are as wide as saucers. I believe that Evie asked Thrall to help Gats. Most important, I can't believe that Thrall agreed. And it all has to do with his tail. Thrall growls. But first, we must deal with these little humans. I just about swallow my tongue. You guys, I think he knows we're here. Thrall's body stiffens and the vines connecting him to the wall suddenly snap. The gray monsters were hiding behind quakes. Its body ripples and swells, and there's a soda bubbling beneath the skin. It's still alive, I whisper. Or coming back to life, just like Frankenstein. You mean Frankenstein's monster, Quinn says. Frankenstein is the man. Frankenstein isn't the man, I say. He's a big, lumbering terror creature. How does it even make him a man? I don't mean like he's a man, but then boom! All at once, exploding monster guts and erupting vines are everywhere. It's like an exploding monster guts erupting convention. I got exploded yuck in my eye. Run! The vine thingies blast out the limp monster, remains sewn across the graveyard. Boom, pop, pop, pop. The speeding vines reach for us, snaking closer and closer, trying to stop us. This way, I say. June shouts. She leads us on a mad dash towards the tunnel where we came from. Steel flashes in the air as she uses the gift's Wolverine-style blade to slice through the vines. Green Goose splatters to the ground. Don't let him get a hold of you, she shouts. They'll suck your insides out, Quint cries. Just like the vacuum suck creatures. I hop over the creature and trip over the next and stagger over another. This is like an obstacle course during one really good workout in gym class. We need to make this back to the maze, winding tunnels in front of June. Dirk and Quint disappear through the earthy doorway. I'm springing for it. A booming voice stops me. For a second, it's like there are speakers in my head, like I'm being hypnotized. But then it's coming from everywhere. Surround sound. It's Thrall. I turn. I don't want to, but I can't help myself. Across the cavern, I see him up in his cocoon. Evie's down below beneath him, like the teacher's pet. Only this teacher's pet is plenty villainous of her own. Crack! High above the roots of the tree of entry, all that remains of it begin weaving together. Hundreds upon hundreds of intertwining. They're forming one twisted, swiny, mega massive that makes me think of a one-way freight train. Now that I know that we've dug into these massive tunnels, there's tremendous drill bit creature. It bends towards me, flashing a neon light like a strobe light, and then dashes from the ceiling and drops, belly flopping onto the cavern floor, flattening everything beneath it, and he rises. The tender drill. It's horrifying, but not as horrifying as Thrall, because he's coming. He's descending the wall, the vines hand him off, cradling down the branch after branch. Thrall might not be all the way healed, but he's jailbreaking out of his cocoon. My eyes are locked on his. Thankfully, Quint's there, pulling me into a tunnel, shouting, "Come on, friend!" And this time, just because Tenderdrill is driving across the cavern towards me. Guys, Tenderdrill is close. Also, I named it Tenderdrill, but it's got 2 L's on the end of it, so let's go. The chasing Tenderdrill fills the tunnel entirely. Pebbles and soils rain down on us. I don't like the way that plants are flickering like horror movie bathroom light bulbs, June shouts. I slip on a mound of soil, face plant into the ground, and then back up. Guys, I shout. I'm screaming at the top of my lungs, but the Tenderdrill is louder. It's not just the vine thingies. It's bigger. It's Tenderdrill. My friends dash around in the next turn. I duck my head and run faster, speeding after them. I holler, "Guys, it's big. It's really big." "How big?" Dirk shouts as he glances back. "Oh, that big," he says. Up ahead, June seems to somehow find another gear and picks up speed. We're going uphill the entire way. I've got a cramp in my side like I swallowed a ninja star, and it's wedged in the side of my gut. Unfortunately for us, the Tendril doesn't really care. Lucky no cramp getting Tendril with 2 L's. "Look, more quills." Quint calls out, pointing ahead. "That means go left," Dirk says. "That's the way we came." We nearly to the surface, but the Tendril gets close and close and closer. "Go, go, 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 I'm going." "I'm going to try and slow this thing down," I shout. I yell the slicer from over my shoulder, and I plunge it into the tunnel walls, dragging it through the dirt as I run. I twist the handle, soil spills out, and soon the tunnel wall is collapsing behind us. "Faster, faster," I cry. Another turn, and I catch the side of the crater where we entered. A rope dangles through the hole, and I surface to Big Mama's tow cable. June leaps for the rope, Quint behind her, sailing towards it. Dirk grabs a hold. We're being lifted up, and at the instant, I jump. Dirk grabs my wrist. "Pull me," I cry. "Pulling, bro." In the final yank, I'm exploding out of the dirt hole. Dirk races towards Big Mama, and then kavoosh! The tendril erupts through the ground, radiating like an earthquake. The monster's surging body is like a whale breaching the surface. The sharp fringe head of the tendril screeches in anger. "It's like an extension of Thrall," Quint says, doing his bidding. "I'm so not cool with that," June snarls. "Get it," I shout, and June, Quint, and Rover and I spring forward into attack. The tendril wails as June and I start attacking it. It sways from side to side like an out-of-control garden hose. Goose sputters like a splinter, and then clink. Looking back, I see Dirk at the wheel of Big Mama with a mean, hard look in his eyes. A look that says, "I'm Dirk Savage. I've been bitten by a zombie and survived. I've got weirdness in my brain, and I'm still going. I'm pretty much got nothing else to lose, so bring it." His hand slaps down, and Big Mama lurches. Kaboom! Goose slime grenades smash into a candle, smash crash candles, all launching through the air, aimed to strike. But before they hit, the tendril squirms back beneath the ground. The rockets whistle past us, land harmlessly somewhere in the distance, and the tendril escapes. And now with the drumming in my head returns, except this time it's saying, "Thrall is back. Thrall is back. We have to speak with Bartle," Quint says. I nod. "We have to get rid of that tail now." All right, y'all. So we've got just 7 chapters left. And so we've got Friday, Monday, and then Wednesday. So we'll finish it up on Monday because on Wednesday I want us to get together and we're going to try and Zoom. So, yeah, guys. All right. Follow the instructions down below, and we'll talk to you soon.